Okay. So today we are discussing about polarization by reflection process. Understand? And in this process we are going to discuss about Brewster's law also. What do you mean by Brewster's law? Now let us see here. If you observe, this is a glass slab. What is this? This is a glass slab here. Okay. So in this glass slab, light is going to travel. When light strikes the surface of the glass slab, partially it is refracted, partially it is reflected. Some of the light is refracted, some of the light is reflected. Okay, so I already told you that polarization means there are two types of lights. One is electric in nature, red in color. One is magnetic in nature. Electromagnetic wave is nothing but sunlight. So we have to filter. What is our aim in polarization? You have to filter one type of wave. So to filter one type of wave, there are many methods, like by using tourmaline crystal, by using glass slab, by using Nichols prism. There are many methods. I'll discuss one by one. So here, this is by reflection process. What is happening? Let us see here. So this is unpolarized light. The arrow represents electric wave, and this dot which is black in color represents magnetic wave. So electromagnetic wave. So whenever this electromagnetic wave falls on the surface, you will see that electric wave is refracted. It enters into the glass slab, whereas the magnetic wave falls and reflects back. It falls and reflects back. So the reflected light ray is polarized now. So unpolarized light is converted into polarized light. And whatever the angle you are getting here, this is called as polarizing angle, represented by letter theta p here. Okay, so polarizing angle represented by letter theta p. So we have to find out what is that polarizing angle. And there is one condition here in this case. The reflected and refracted light rays are exactly making 90 degrees. That is the condition here. The reflected ray and refracted ray makes exactly 90 degrees. Then what are you going to do here? So with this you will understand that what is this here. If I explain separately, this is going to be theta p, this is going to be theta p, and this is going to be angle of refraction, and these two are going to be 90 degrees, isn't it? So theta p, polarizing angle. It is called as polarizing angle here. And this is a glass slab which you are going to consider. So what is observed here? So if this is 90 degrees, then what is total angle here? Complete angle. If you observe, the complete angle is going to be 180 degrees. That means theta p plus 90 degrees plus r is equal to 180 degrees. Theta p, this is also going to be theta p because angle of incidence is equal to angle of reflection. So theta p plus 90 plus this is called as refracted angle. So these three combined together, it is going to be 180 degrees. So with this you will understand that theta p plus r is equal to 180 minus 90. So theta p plus r is equal to 90 degrees. So r can be written as 90 minus theta p. So if you consider sin r, you can write sin 90 minus theta p here. So this can also be taken as sin, this is cos theta p. Okay, so cos theta p. So sin r can be converted into cos theta p here. I think you understood this process. So once if you understand this process here, then what you have to do, you have to apply Snell's law. Okay, so what is according to Snell's law? What does Snell's law explains? Snell's law says that mu is equal to sin I by sin r. So if I is considered to be theta p here, understand, angle of incidence is considered to be theta p, and I have told you that sin r can be taken as cos theta p now. Sin r is replaced with cos theta p. If you have understood this process, then you can take a screenshot. I am going to drop this one. And now let us discuss about the remaining process here. So in this remaining process, you will observe that mu is equal to sin A by sin R according to Snell's law. Therefore, mu can be written as, here I is replaced with sin theta p, and from this derivation sin R I am writing it as cos theta p. So this is going to be cos theta p, and I can write this as tan theta p. Therefore, theta p can be taken as tan inverse of mu, because tan theta p is equal to mu according to the above equation. So tan theta p is equal to refractive index. Okay, so theta p is going to be tan inverse of mu here. Okay, so with this, for glass, if you observe, theta p is considered to be 57.5 degrees. For water, it is considered to be 53 degrees when you do calculations. Got the point now? So this is called as Brewster's law. What is this called as? This is called as Brewster's law here. So according to Brewster's law, polarizing angle is equal to tan inverse of refractive index of the glass slab. That is called as Brewster's law. It's very simple. Next. Now the next process is polarization by double refraction. What do you mean by this one? So for this process, we need to consider one calcite crystal. So this is a special crystal in which unpolarized light, when it passes, it automatically divides into two light rays. One is a light ray which is having vertical lines, another is dotted lines. So electric wave as well as magnetic waves are automatically, they have divided because of different refractive indices. See, refractive index will be different for different waves, both electric and magnetic. So after refraction, both are going to bend like this. The one which is going in a little bit straight way is called as extraordinary ray, and the one which is refracted more is called as ordinary ray. Okay, so this is extraordinary, this is going to be ordinary ray. Then if you rotate the calcite crystal, what is going to happen? Let us see. So here, if you observe, this is a calcite crystal. In this calcite crystal, unpolarized light is entering, and this is going to be normal here. So if this is going to be normal over here, then what are you going to observe? This is going to be the normal. So the first one is considered to be refraction R1, and the second one is taken as refraction R2. Okay, so there are two refractions here if you observe. So this one which is smaller one is taken as R1, the one which is larger is taken as R2 here. That means they have been refracted in two ways. So refractive index will be different for both the rays here. So how can we explain here? So refractive index of ordinary ray is sin I by sin R1. For ordinary ray it is sin I by sin R1. Why sin R1? Because angle of incidence is going to be same here, whereas angle of refractions are different for ordinary as well as extraordinary. So for extraordinary it is R2, for ordinary it is R1, which is represented here. So therefore, refractive indices for ordinary can be taken as sin A by sin R1, and refractive index for extraordinary is taken as sin I by sin R2. Okay, so like this we are going to get two different refractive indices. And if you observe the screen here, this screen, if you are going to see, when you rotate the screen, you will observe that extraordinary ray is going to take a circular path, whereas ordinary ray is going to form a dot here. So to show the difference, you can observe extraordinary ray is going to take a circular path, ordinary ray is going to form a dot there. Okay. So the next process is polarization by refraction. In this polarization by refraction, we are taking different pile of glass plates which are arranged with certain angles, like they have been arranged with 32.5 degrees. So 32.5 degrees they have been arranged in this way. These are said to be pile of glass plates. The glass plates one above the other is placed in this way. Okay, and this is an opening here. from which the unpolarized light is going to enter. So once the unpolarized light is going to enter here, because of this pile of glass plates, the dots are getting reflected. The dots, some of the dots are reflected at the first pile, some of the dots are reflected at the second pile, like this. After passing through all these piles, you are not going to see a single dot outside. So dots have been filtered. That means one wave has been filtered because of reflection, and the one which is refracted is coming out of the pile of glass plates. So this is polarization by the process of refraction. Okay, the next process is polarization by using tourmaline crystal, which is also called as dichroism. What do you mean by dichroism? There are some crystals like tourmaline. Okay, so these crystals, if you observe, this is unpolarized light. When unpolarized light is entering inside the tourmaline crystal, the one which is arrow is slowly filtered completely, and you are observing that dots are coming out. Okay, so tourmaline crystal will be having vertical gaps like this. I told you already, they are having vertical gaps like this. So whenever vertical gaps are present, so this is a dot. The dot will enter to the gaps which are present between my fingers, whereas the one which is red color, which is represented with arrows, they have been filtered and only dots are coming out. Why dots? Because if you see the pen from that side, the cross section is appearing to be a dot here. So dots. So unpolarized light which is going to enter like this, the dots are entering inside the tourmaline crystal, whereas the arrows are slowly filtered, and this process is called as dichroism, where one plane is completely filtered slowly out, step by step, and dots are coming out.